Guys, I'm going to just say it. This officially kicks off season 5. We have the coaches' Big Ten Media Days this week, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I've only watched Kirk's interviews so far, or his deal. Man, they don't say much in those things, I'll tell you that. But we got a fun show planned tonight, and honestly, right now, I could use a really good pick-me-up. I don't know about you.
Me too.
I was falling asleep all day, so I need this. Go to cocainecoffee.com and put in villains15 for 15% off. I could use a pick-me-up, but I'm not a coffee drinker, so I almost went and bought a Rockstar or something like that. I don't even know what the popular energy drinks are anymore, but I haven't had one in years. But today, I almost went for that pick-me-up. Guys, I also want to point out, please subscribe to the show. It's free. It's not like those other places where you subscribe and they want money out of you. We're not asking you for money. We're asking you to subscribe. Be a subscriber. Hit that little bell so when we go on the air, you get notified. And then hit the like button. The like button I'm finding out, is really important. Okay, it keeps us in front of all the other people. And I heard a comment the other day that somebody was mad because commercials were popping up, not our commercial, but other commercials were popping up in our ad, and that's why they wanted me to go to all audio on Spotify or something. So I'm working on that. I don't know how to do it, but I've got some people that are going to help me do that, but we're working on it. We're going to get that all audio one out for you guys. Mm-hmm. And finally, please comment tonight. Please ask questions. Please correct us when you feel like we've said something wrong. And by all means, please come on the show. You can see that link right there in front of you. There's one over our pictures. There's 3 of them over on the comment up above. It'll be up above all the comments tonight. Click it on. You don't have to show your picture. And tonight would be a good night because right now, at the beginning of this show, Kelvin and I are going to pick our all-time Hawkeye team or roster, and we're going to pit his guys against my guys and see who wins.
I just picked who I thought deserved it, So
yeah, but I would be interested to hear who you guys would like to have on your team. Now we miscommunicated. So on my team, there are no linemen on either side of the ball.
I bet I win.
I bet you win, yeah, because everybody knows that it starts with the lines.
So, now the 2 lines are the hardest ones to pick. It's like,
oh my God, I think that would be nearly impossible. We've had so many great linemen over the years. Just think of how many are in the NFL over the years. Oh,
I know if you ask Kirk Ferentz, who's the all-time offensive line for him, he'd just say, "Oh, I'm not going to answer that."
He's had too many good ones.
Well, yeah, and then you go back to the ones that came before. Of course, he coached most of them for Hayden. So, anyway.
Yeah, he coached Hayden. Yeah, for most of Hayden's career, he coached them.
Yeah, I didn't have any on defensive line. I had a couple old guys, but I don't think I didn't have any on the offensive line that didn't play for either Hayden, Kirk, or both. So
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I went back a little ways on a couple of mine
well,
because
you got to. I mean, good God, we got a stadium named after somebody. I mean,
but
it's stupid.
you'll be sad to know that I did not include him in my list.
Oh God, I did.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay. Should we get started?
yeah, you go ahead with
Okay. You want me to go through my whole thing first?
with your half a team you picked. And the only thing I said to Dean that confused him was I said, "We'll pick our all-time team," but you look back and back in the 50s and before they run like a single wing offense and stuff. I said, we're just going to use the same positions we did last show, the modern positions, Leo and Cash, and one running back, not two. And so Dean, I didn't mention anything about line, so he didn't think we were picking anybody in the line, That's
Well, I
what
figured
confused him.
and that part confused me, but the reason why I thought you skipped the line because it'd be darn near impossible
Oh
to pick
God.
them.
It's
All righty. Okay.
yeah.
So I'm going to start at quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. My all-time quarterback at Iowa would be, tell me who it is. I think you know it already.
Well, he wouldn't be short.
It's Chuck Long.
Yeah, the opposite of short. So,
Yeah, I figured as I said Chuck Long, I figured you mentioned that.
well, there was only one answer. I mean,
Okay.
anyway, go ahead.
Alrighty.
Pick your team and I'll shut up.
Alrighty. So running back was even harder because we have for a career running back, Cedric Shaw. Okay. But we got single seasons from Sean Green and Caleb Johnson, who had really good single seasons, but their career stats, if they had their career stats, for as many years as Cedric Shaw, they might have surpassed Cedric Shaw on the chart, on the thing. So I went with Cedric Shaw, Sean Green, and KJ, all three. Only one can play at a time in this thing, but they'll rotate.
Okay.
Okay, wait a minute. Hang on.
You can have a couple of them. You can have a couple of them play offensive line for you because you don't have a line. So
there you go. Alrighty. Okay. Boy says think ski might be better off trying to play center. He looked kind of small. That very well could explain him hurt all the time.
I don't know what he said. Who's playing center?
He says think. Looks like a little light bulb and then the word ski.
And he might play center. Is he talking about Holinsky or something? Like Linsky?
Malinsky, I think. Yeah, Malinsky.
Oh, Miss Linsky.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Kirk mentioned two centers yesterday, and the only two he mentioned was Pieper being the center or Cale Winters. So
yeah, and it sounds like it might be Cale Winters because
I don't know.
Everybody assumed it was going to be Pieper, but he said Pieper's better at guard.
He said it depends on which makes us a better team, and he said Winter also may play the guard. So they're going to go in. They're going to go into fall practice and start practicing for the first time since April or whatever, and they're going to figure it out. So
okay, all right. My two wide receivers, Marvin McNutt and DJK.
Okay, two teammates.
Okay, and that was kind of hard, but I want to point out some other people. Okay, those are my running backs. I forgot to mention that I actually had a whole mess of running backs. Bob Jeter, Larry Ferguson, Eddie Vincent, Nick Bell, Tavian Banks.
Ozzie Simmons.
But anyway, those are the only two wide receivers I picked.
Okay.
And
I just picked a starting lineup.
Okay, alrighty.
Go ahead.
Alrighty, my two tight ends. Okay. This was harder than I thought, but I went with Marv Cook and Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta might be having, out of all of our tight ends in the NFL, he might be the best, having the best seasons in the NFL right now, and that's saying a lot with George Kittle making big names for himself.
And who knows? Maybe our best tight end is a walk-on that's going to start a full season for the first time this year.
Yeah, but we're not picking any current members. I don't think.
I know that. It's like I think Keeper may be the best center in the pros of any center we've ever produced, but he ain't on my all-time team. He ain't.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. So.
And people will probably wonder why I didn't pick Dallas Clark or George Kittle, because their tight end careers at Iowa wasn't near as great as they were in the NFL. So we're only talking about the University of Iowa, why they played at University of Iowa. Yeah. So, but yeah, because those two guys, as you know, had great NFL careers. Well, one still has, if he can keep from being injured.
Yeah. So you didn't pick any linemen. So did you pick a kicker and a punter?
I did not.
Okay. Well, you're going to pick Tory Taylor as a punter, right?
Yes, I would. I would actually probably pick Reggie Roby.
Oh, you're going to pick Roby? Okay.
Roby would be my punter. Tory would have to be his backup.
We ain't got no backups on the all-time team, dear Dean. So
I know it.
What about
we should have picked two deeps on these. I would have felt.
Oh
better.
Shit! I know you. If we went two deeps, you'd end up with 12 running backs. It's like, how's that a two deep?
Okay, I can't remember his name, but I think he was from Marshalltown for the place kicker.
Oh shit! I don't even know who that is. Marshalltown.
Yeah.
When did he play for Kirk or for Hayden?
I think he played for Kirk.
You think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he played for Kirk. Let me hang on for a second. I'm going to look it up. I don't want to be accused of not knowing my roster and who plays for Iowa again.
Yeah. You want me to do my offense while you're looking it up?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
So we can get on to when people make comments, they don't think we're. Anyway, Chuck Long's our quarterback. The way I look at quarterbacks, if you weren't first team All Big Ten or Big Ten Player of the Year, you're not on my list. So that narrowed it down to Chuck Long, Randy Duncan, Kenny Payne, Chuck Hartley, Matt Rogers, who was a silver football winner, and of course, only one. Kirk Ferentz quarterback, and of course that's the Heisman runner-up, Brad Banks.
Banks.
Chuck Long is by far the best quarterback. Banks was just a one-year guy.
Yep.
And Long did it. I mean, he first team All Big Ten 4 years in a row. When he retired from, he was the all-time leading yardage guy in the Big Ten until Drew Brees came along, and so anyway, Chuck Long.
There's one other little historical fact about Chuck Long that he was the first person to play in 5 bowls.
Well, yeah.
Nobody had done it since before that, but now it's commonplace.
Yeah, some of them, we have 6 and 7 year guys that were on rosters for bowl games. They might have played for 4 different universities, but that was a joke. Running back to me was easy. He's also the greatest wide receiver ever at Iowa, but I put him at running back.
Ronnie Harmon.
Yeah, Chuck Long says the greatest player that he ever played with in the pros or college. Mm-hmm. Pretty simple. When he retired at Iowa, he's all-time leading rusher and the all-time leading pass receiver.
You know what we should have did was gone by. We should have also added an all-purpose yard person, because that's the only reason why I left Ronnie off, because his yardage were divided up between running back and wide receiver.
Yeah, but for some reason you put Caleb Johnson on, who only had 1 good year.
Yeah. Well, so did Sean Green. Only had 1 green.
Sean Green because he had 1 good year.
Yeah.
But anyway, it didn't make any sense. Ronnie Harmon as a wide receiver, I'm pretty sure course, he had the greatest freshman year ever as a wide receiver. He'd never played wide receiver before. Then the next year, he averaged over 20 yards a catch and had 700 and some yards as a true sophomore. And then the next year, they move him to running back because Hayden promised him. He gets 900 and some yards, breaks his leg, and misses the last 3 games of the season. He missed that Freedom Bowl. Then the next year, he rushes for like 1,300 yards, first team All Big Ten. But anyway, Ronnie Harmon's the running back. Nobody even close. My wide receivers, we haven't had a bunch of real good wide receivers at Iowa. Nobody has had a real good career after Iowa in the pros ever at wide receiver.
That is correct.
But I picked Timmy Dwight and Kevin Casper. I think Casper was the best wide receiver of the bunch, but Timmy Dwight can help you in other directions too.
So Marvin McNutt didn't get even a sniff from you, huh?
He's too slow.
Okay.
He was. That's why he didn't make it in the pros. He was run a 4.6 something 40.
Mm-hmm.
DJK.
DJK.
I'm keeping him off the team because of his problem. It's like the NFL don't even want him on a team. I don't want him on my team.
Okay.
Real good wide receiver. If he'd have stayed on the straight and narrow, he'd be an all-time wide receiver at Iowa. Hopefully the boogeyman's going to be on there. Tight ends, my 2 tight ends are John Mackey Award winners, Dallas Clark and T.J. Hawkinson.
Okay.
And Hawkinson, of course, his career is cut short because he cried. He wanted to stay at Iowa, but Kirk told him, hey, you're going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Don't be stupid. So.
You mean Hawkinson?
Yeah.
Okay. Nick Slick, he just wants to point out that Quinn Early did have a pretty good NFL career.
He did. Quinn Early, Tim Dwight, and Kevin Casper, and a guy that was way back in the time. He was from Animos, Iowa, Don Norton. He played for the San Diego Chargers in the AFL.
I thought Tim Dwight was mainly a return specialist.
Tim Dwight, when he quit receiving at Iowa, he was right behind Ronnie Harmon, I think, in the all-time receiving. But he just wasn't. Tim Dwight was very fast. He just wasn't a great route runner. He wasn't tall enough and all that shit. But anyway, yeah, Quinn Early had a good career. And I thought about Quinn. My offensive line, I got Robert Gallery and the greatest pass blocking tackle I ever seen at Iowa, 6'8", 315 pounds, John Ault, who was on the 82 and the 83 team. The 83 team was one of the greatest teams ever at Iowa. But, of course, Ault played in the NFL for probably about 14 years for my Chiefs. And then at my guards are Marshall Yonda and Brian Bulaga. Bulaga started right as a true freshman and started in the Super Bowl after 3 years at Iowa. I think Bulaga, from his every single snap at Iowa, if you scored how he did from his very first snap at Iowa as a true freshman, right through the last, he'd have scored better than any other offensive lineman at Iowa, even though he only played 3 years. He's another guy that couldn't pass up. Kirk told him get in the NFL. And I picked Linderbaum at center. So that's my offense.
Okay. I just by the way, Nate Kading is who I was thinking of. Nate Kading.
Yeah, I got Torrey Taylor because he really did have a much better career at Iowa than Reggie Roby. Reggie Roby could really kick the ball a long ways, but his net punting for his career was only like 35 yards a punt because he'd kick it in the end. He couldn't kick coffin corner kicks like Torrey Taylor could. But
Okay, I want to point out a couple things for you.
Nate Gating's my kicker. Go ahead.
Cool. All righty. So I question about Tim Dwight's receiving.
Mhm.
He was the leading receiver, 95, 96, and 97 on the team. Kevin Casper, the leading receiver on the 99 and 2000 teams. And it looks to me like, judging by what I'm looking at real quick here, Kevin Casper has the most yardage ever by a wide receiver at Iowa.
Well, I don't know about that, but
It does. He
Okay.
had in the year 2000 he had 1,010 yards receiving.
Mhm.
Quinn Early had 1,004. They're the top two.
Oh,
So it's rare. It's rare if we get a 1,000 yard rusher.
Do they have-
Receivers.
Are you looking at the single season receiving record?
No, this isn't single season. This is year by year leaders who led the team in receiving that year, and so like I said, these are the years that these guys.
I thought Keith Chappelle on Hayden's second team had well over 1,000 yards, but back in 79 or whatever, 780 or whatever. He was a junior college wide receiver.
Okay, you're right. I missed it. He had 1,037 yards in 1980.
Yeah.
You're correct. I stand corrected.
Yeah, and I think they've had wide receivers have more than that. But I could be wrong. Anyway.
Okay. All right, hang on for a second. There's some comments.
Yep.
I like to mix these comments up before we
Well,
get
yeah,
too behind.
we gotta keep the customers happy.
Yeah. Boy. Okay, Nick, I already read Nick Slicks. Boy says, boy, you guys are sleeping on Quinn Early. Made Chuck Long look great.
Quinn Early was with Chuck Hartley more. When Chuck Long graduated, his wide receivers were Happel and Helverson. After Ronnie Harmon and Dave Moritz left the wide receiver corps. And then Robert Smith was Chuck Long's third wide receiver. He averaged over 30 yards a catch one year, but he wasn't no great wide receiver. Quinn Early, he set the Big Ten record for receiving yards in a game with Chuck Hartley against Northwestern, and Chuck Hartley set the passing record at Northwestern, 480 yards or something. Then Chuck ended up breaking that in the Indiana game. I think he actually hit 500 yards or something. But anyway, but Quinn was more with Chuck Hartley as far as his playing time. So
okay. Well, on the Leo and Cash, I picked Sebastian Castro and Cooper DeJean.
Okay.
And so, did we want to pick a punt returner or kickoff return?
I agree with Ferentz. You know, it's wet jet.
Well, yeah, I would say that too, but I think Cooper DeJean's right behind him, as is Tim Dwight.
Yeah. I had a bunch of them, but I was just picking one, you know. So
yeah, okay. And then of course, my all-time linebacker is Jack Campbell.
Cool.
Okay, and that's since I didn't pick a D-line, I can't help you out there.
Did you pick
But
any more?
I would put AJ Epineza.
Okay.
Epineza as the all-time defensive end on the right side, right? He was right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends which way you're facing, but yeah.
Yeah. And my all-time center. This is tough. I'm going to say Daniels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you pick a secondary?
I didn't pick any DBs, did
I
I?
know you. I know you'd have Bobby Sanders probably, right? In your second.
Yes, Bobby Sanders would be there. I can't believe I didn't pick any DBs either.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
It's more like you picked a roster for a basketball team, like 5 guys on each side.
I was thinking 7-on-7. What am I thinking?
I don't know. You're like all Mr. Air Raid or something. But
Okay, Nick Slick has another comment.
mm-hmm.
Keith Chabot was a great pull by Kelvin. I'm impressed. Young and hadn't even heard of him. Good to know.
Keith Chappelle, him and Gordy Bohannon were. I don't know if it wasn't Saddleback. It was some junior college in California. They came in together, and Gordy broke his ankle, or he'd have graduated the year before that Rose Bowl team. But they came in together from California. And
Nick Slick says I misread that. He is pretty young and hadn't even heard of him. So it's good to know. Okay. Yeah, Gordy Bohannon. How many of you guys know that he's the dad of Jordan Bohannon?
And Jason Bohannon, and
yeah,
all was there 3 or 4 Bohannons that were famous?
I think there was 4 boys. I think there was 4 boys.
One at UNI, 2 at Wisconsin, and Jordan surprised him and went to the daddy's alma mater. So,
well, he always wanted to be a Hawkeye. You know. Okay. Full House says, how about make a little controversy and pick the greatest coach ever in Iowa? I don't think we should go there.
It isn't real controversial. It's either if you talk about guys that stayed here for a while, Evie was only here like 6, 7 years. The guy that had the highest winning percentage was probably the great coach in the late teens and the early 20s, and he went to USC, but he was only here like 5 years. I mean, he won 23 straight games and kept whooping Notre Dame, Newt Rockne and them. But
the one big thing is Evashevsky.
You can't.
It took him a few years to get it going, and so it took him more time to get it going than it took Kirk Ferentz.
Oh, maybe.
I'll look it up just to prove it.
But I know, like even in his last 5 years, he had one season that wasn't very good. I don't know if he went 5-4 or something like that. But anyway, there and if you just look at records, you really can't pick. You can't pick Hayden over Kirk. Kirk's been much more consistent than Hayden as far as winning. So,
yeah. Anyway. Well, I think in the 90s, all that goodwill that Hayden built up in the 80s, by the time the 90s rolled around, he was losing all of his great coaches. They wanted to be head coaches and other things at other schools. And I think that's what happened in the 90s, the inconsistency that the Iowa team had in the 90s was because the guys that kept the ball rolling in the 80s were now gone.
Yeah, about the only, Kirk ain't exactly. Kirk's has a coaching staff that's stuck around good lately, but his early coaching staff, they all, a lot of them went to the NFL, and Norm Parker died, and Phil Parker's been there the whole time. But just think about it. It ain't like he had the same offensive coordinator all the time, the same O-line coach, the same defensive line coach, nothing, But Kirk just keeps hiring good people. But
I wonder why Jerry Burns didn't work out. It looked like he had some good years at Iowa. Not great, but good. Okay, Forrest Shevchevsky, 1952, his first year, 2-7. 53, he was 5-3-1. 54, he was 5-4. 55, he fell to 3-5-1.
Yeah.
And then they come to his really good teams. 56, the year I was born, 9-1.
Rose Bowl.
57, 7-1-1. Yep. 58, 8-1-1, another Rose Bowl year. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then they had a little bit of a fall off in 59 to 5-4. but he bounced back in his last year at
Mhm.
8-1, his final season, and I believe that was the year he was co-champions with Minnesota. What some publications were picking Iowa, some were picking Minnesota, but our only loss that year was to Minnesota.
Yeah, the 58 team. Yeah, it's a 58 team that Iowa claims we won the national championship. Actually, LSU won the national championship that year.
Yeah.
But
But here's it is. I thought 1960 was our last winning season. It was not.
we went 5-4.
Jerry Burns in 61 went 5-4, and then 4-5, then 3-3-2, and then the bottom fell out of his last two seasons. The last two seasons was probably what cost him his job.
Then,
but Jerry Burns did a heck of a job at Minnesota. Why couldn't he win at Iowa?
He was a great offensive coordinator at Minnesota. He was somewhat successful as a head coach at Minnesota. Of course, that was 25 years later. He probably had a little more knew
knowledge.
What he was doing.
Yeah.
He was an offensive genius. He really is the one, him and Sid Gilman, and kind of invented the West Coast offense. But anyway, what was I going to say? On Fort Evashevsky's last 3 Iowa teams and Burns's last team, I think, maybe it was he just played for Evashevsky, but Tom Moore was the backup quarterback and the punter on them teams. So
yeah,
that's how old Tom Moore is. So
Toll House wants to know where Bob Cummings and his son Bobby Cummings, the quarterback, are on our list. Bob Cummings would be near the bottom, and his son Bobby. This reminds me of Todd Licklider and Little Lick. The year, because we had Bobby Cummings should not have been playing quarterback at a Division I school. Bob came in as from being a great high school coach directly to head coach at a Division I. I'm sure that Bob Cummings could have had some great years if he would have progressed differently. Take his mind step by step instead of making that huge jump. I don't know who in their mind would hire a high school coach to coach your Division I school.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, we're just picking the all-time greatest at each position and each coach. Nate Stanley was a good quarterback, but we're not talking about him tonight. And we're not talking about Bob Cummings as a coach. He probably ain't even a top 8, 9, 10 coach at Iowa.
I said he's near the bottom.
Well, but there was guys way below Bob Cummings. Good God, Frank Lauterbur. Are you kidding me? Go 2 seasons and win 1 game in 2 seasons put together. And
Ray Nagel had the misfortune of having all the black guys on the team walk off the team and decided not to play. He could have turned that program around. He could have.
Yeah, like I said, from 1935 until 1981, when Kirk was with Hayden, all those years, if you took Forrest Evachevsky out, there was 5 winning seasons. That's why the Iowa series records with Big Ten teams is so bad until Hayden came, and then Kirk, and they just been catching up. I can remember when they were 25 games behind Minnesota and Wisconsin and stuff. Now we're tied with them almost or something. But you want me to give my defense or?
Yeah, it would be time. I mean, we were just getting sidetracked. I thought, interesting conversation.
Well, if you have more comments, read them.
No, that's the last one for now.
Okay. My defensive line, of course, I got it was kind of hard to pick if I didn't read my writing, but I have Alex Karras, Duke Slater, Calvin Jones, and Mike Wells as my defensive line. Wells would be my big guy in the middle, and Calvin Jones, who was the Outland Trophy winner. Unfortunately, he didn't play in the NFL because they wouldn't pay blacks as much, so he went and played for Canada, Canadian Football League, and then he got killed in the plane crash. He was going to fly to the Rose Bowl game, watch his alma mater play, and he died in a plane crash on the way there. And Iowa team found out about it before the game, and they went out and kicked the Pac-8's rear end that day in the Rose Bowl.
You remember which team that was?
That would have been 58, the national championship team, supposedly.
So I think it was Washington. I think we beat Washington. Yeah.
I don't know. I know we played Oregon in one of them, or Cal. I don't remember. But anyway, then Duke Slater, the field's named after him. He's an all-time great player in the NFL. He was the only black player in the NFL for a while, and he played for Howard Jones from about 1918 through 21, and he got to play as a true freshman at Iowa because World War I was going on, and for 1 year they let true freshmen play. And he was first team All Big Ten all those years. Newt Rockne said he was the greatest lineman they ever faced. They won, like I said, 23 games in a row, and they broke Notre Dame's winning streak pretty easy. And Newt Rockne said he put 4 guys on Duke Slater. And then he played in the NFL like 10 years, and he was first team All-Pro like 9 of those years in the NFL. Now he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Alex Karras, of course, my other defensive lineman, another guy that finished high in the Heisman vote, won the Outland Trophy, didn't get along with Evicheski, but he's an NFL all-70s decade team player and a Hall of Famer.
When Alex Karras was a friend of my dad's, and my dad's yearbook, Alex Karras, because I was born that year, he signed a thing personally to me. However, that book got lost in a flood in our house. So,
oh shit!
I should have not put that book in the basement.
Man, I know
that book meant something to me, and now I don't have it anymore.
Alex Karras always claimed that when he played in the NFL, nobody ever blocked him. And Jerry Kramer, the famous offensive lineman for the Packers, they said Alex Karras said nobody ever blocked him really in the NFL, and Kramer just looked at the camera and said, "Well, that's about right." He was for such a huge, strong guy. He had like dancing feet. He was so quick. But anyway, I don't want to take too much time. My linebackers, Andre Tippett, NFL Hall of Famer, All-American at Iowa, first Rose Bowl team, number 99. He was only at Iowa 3 years. He was a junior college guy. I got your guy, Captain Jack, in the middle. And I got, as my Leo linebacker, about the fastest linebacker I ever seen at Iowa, Chad Greenway.
Those are good picks. Those are very good picks.
Well,
I don't know how you came up with them. I mean, I could have never. I don't know. It was just too much for me to.
It was kind of hard to whittle them down, but those are the guys I've watched over the years that were the best.
Yeah, Chad Greenway to this day might be my all-time favorite. I just love the way he played.
He was so athletic. He came out of 8-man football out in South Dakota, and here's a guy who ran a 4.4 40. Until he had a ACL at Iowa, and then he had one or two ACLs in the pros. But I mean, he was a Pro Bowl player in the pros, and he was like a safety quarterback in high school, and Norm Parker and them were smart enough to put him out in the open on defense and run a 4.4 40. And it wasn't like he was a little guy, he's 6'4", and at Iowa, I guess he weighed 230 pounds. My cash is Cooper DeJean. My cornerbacks are Desmond King, who had the greatest 4-year career. He was great as a freshman at Iowa, and long pro career. Then I put Merton Hanks as my other cornerback. I had a hard time kind of picking there, but I put Merton Hanks in there. He played cornerback and safety, both at Iowa, and that freed me up to make Bobby Sanders at the safety position. And of course, the other safety is the guy the stadium's named after now. Like Kirk says, Niall Kinnick intercepted 8 passes his senior year at Iowa. Other than his great exploits as a punter, he's first team All Big Ten punter twice, and his great stats he was really the quarterback. He did all the passing, even though it was a halfback, and he did most of the rushing for that team. But he picked off 8 passes, and Kirk says, if you look at the statistics, the other team only attempted like 70-some passes the whole season. Can you imagine intercepting 8 of 72 passes or 77 that were taken the whole year? That's over 10%.
Yeah.
Plus, a lot of them passes were not probably thrown into his area. Kirk said he's obviously the greatest defensive back in the history of the Big Ten. That's probably why he won the Heisman. So I put Niall Kinnick. You can't have a team without Niall Kinnick in your all-time Iowa team. That's like...
Yeah. Okay, let me catch up on these comments real quick.
Yep.
Boy. Well, I know the 84 Freedom Bowl, Quinn Early and Chuck Long ate Texas a real Swiss sandwich, something like 60-10. I don't remember the final score, but I can look it up.
In the Freedom Bowl, that was Robert Smith was the guy that had the big game at wide receiver. Jonathan Hayes was the tight end, and Jonathan Hayes went to the pros after that game. He could have come back with Chuck. They came in together. He was from Pennsylvania, and he played both ways at Iowa, first tight end and linebacker. But no, Quinn Early did not have a big game in that Freedom Bowl. Had a big game in the Holiday Bowls with or that Chuck Hartley played in. But sorry.
No, I'm going to go back and look real quick just so we can have the facts.
Everybody should remember Robert Smith catching that long pass in the rain, jumping up. The Texas wide receivers bump into each other. He jumps up and catches it and just kind of jogs into the end zone. Helverson and Happel were the 2 starting wide receivers on that Freedom Bowl team.
Yeah. On that Freedom Bowl thing, I didn't actually watch that on TV. I watched it on a rainy night in my bedroom. Not watched it, but I listened to it on the radio.
Were you in Iowa then?
Yeah. Okay. No, it wasn't. I mean, it was raining where the Freedom Bowl was. I'm sorry. Chuck Long, let's see.
Quinn Early, his first year at Iowa, he would have played with Chuck Long, but in like one of the first practices of the season, he broke his collarbone, so he didn't play. He was
here's something. Yeah. For receiving, Smith had 115 yards. Happel had 104. Flagg had 71, and Jonathan Hayes had 70 yards. We won the game 55-17, so he was close on his
Chuck
score.
Long had like 406 yards passing or something.
469.
69? It was a bowl record that stood for a long time.
And he was 30 out of 40. That is amazing.
Yeah, I don't comment, to make it look like I know everything. I just knew that Quinn Early didn't do much with Chuck Long.
Now let's see. Let's see if he got any scoring passes or anything.
For the season?
No, for this game because he was talking Freedom Bowl. Scott Halverson had a 4-yard pass from Chuck Long. Tommy Nickel kicked the extra point.
Jonathan Hayes had a short one.
Jonathan Hayes had a 15-yard pass from Long.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Somebody named Ward. Oh, that was a field goal kicker.
Tom Ward was the
field goal kicker.
No, Tom Ward was the third tight end on that team.
Oh, wait a minute. That was from Texas. Never mind.
No, there was a tight end named Tom Ward for Iowa that was a backup tight end. But I don't know. There might have been a Ward from Texas too.
Yeah. So
I know about the whole roster for that game.
Yeah. So. Anyway, they had 560 yards total yards that game.
Yep, and Bosworth, Cam Buffington, his uncle was an offensive lineman in that game, Jerry Malone, for Iowa. He was the backup, but he got in the game because Joe Lavellis was screwing up. So
yeah, I like this. I mean, picking our all-time team here, kind of going down memory lane here. Well, I like that.
Yeah. Quinn Early didn't even the next year when we played Michigan, the number 1 and number 2, Quinn Early didn't even play much that year. The next year,
Alrighty. Tollhouse says Paul Krause is the NFL all-time interception leader from Iowa, but I don't know about his college career. I could actually look that up if you want me to.
He was like a 3-sport athlete at Iowa. I don't have to look it up, but he was a basketball player, baseball player, and a football player for I think Evashevsky even had him play offensive guard once in a while when they wanted a pulling guard or something. But he was really good. I just am not picking him over Niall Kinnick or Bobby Sanders.
Okay, Tollhouse says you could put Niall Kinnick in several positions as the all-time best. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably feel bad that I didn't pick Niall Kinnick.
Well, you could have put him in your offensive line.
There you go. He's in my offensive line. He could probably play that position.
But I just knew that.
He played every other position.
I just knew that Niall Kinnick, watching him play, he was like a Quinn Schulte type athlete.
Okay, you didn't actually watch him play. You probably saw some tape.
I've seen tape of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's tape of him going back and throwing the winning touchdown pass against Minnesota or whatever it was. And he was what you call a drop kicker, where the tip of the ball, you drop it, tip of the ball hits the grass and you kick it for field goals and extra points. He was real good at that and everything, but he just was not, as fast as Tavian Banks and Cedric Shaw and as far as a running back.
Okay. Nick Slick says Jack Campbell is definitely the right pick at middle linebacker, but Josie, the outlaw jewel, has to get honorable mention.
It was not an easy pick for me for Jack Campbell. We had guys like Melvin Foster, Larry Station. I can go through all these players, A guy named Wally Hilgenberg, who played for the Vikings with Paul Krause. He was like a Pro Bowl player all the time for Bud Grant up there. And, of course, he's Jay and Joel Hilgenberg's uncle, But and then for center, Iowa is center U. We got the Hilgenbergs and Bruce Nelson and Wiegman and Mike Devlin. It's not that easy, saying Linderbaum, It's not easy. We had Logan Jones last year. So anyway, it ain't easy. It ain't cut and dried. It ain't. So
it ain't.
Yeah. When I had a real close one, I thought, I gave it to the guy that did it for 4 years. Bobby Sanders and Desmond King are 2 guys that just did it for 4 years. Merton Hanks did too, I threw that in there too. But,
What year did Paul Krause go to Iowa?
It was on them Rose Bowl, probably 1958, 59, 60, 57, 58, 59, 60.
Hang on for a second. I'm trying to find the interceptions leaders. I want to see what Paul Krause did at Iowa for interceptions.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
The other team probably didn't throw the ball very much in the 50s. But Paul Krause got drafted by the Washington Redskins. And his 1 year for the Washington Redskins, he had like 8 or 9 interceptions and led the league, and the Redskins got rid of him. He ended up with like 81 interceptions or something. He's number 1 all time in the NFL. And number 2 is another Iowa guy, Emlyn Tunnell. Did you know that?
I did not.
Number 1 and number 2, and number 3, I think, might be like Rod Woodson or somebody. But
alrighty. Paul Krause is not listed in the interception, but you had to have a minimum of 8 interceptions to get listed in the interceptions list. So we know he didn't have 8.
No. Any more comments, Dean?
Nope. Okay, so I think it's time to talk about the media days what went on and stuff, and talk about some of Kirk's comments. And like you said, I think you counted 5. He was on 5 shows, including the.
Yeah, I forwarded 5 videos. There was the one where he was interviewed by Revson and them on the Big Ten for a little bit there. There was the one where he was in front of the whole media. There was one where he did a hallway interview leaning against the wall with Iowa and other Big Ten media asking him questions. Then he sat down at this little round table, and the Iowa people and I know a Michigan State guy and a Nebraska guy asked him questions. And then he was on something called the Cover 3 CBS Sports interview show too. I listened to all of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
What did you take away from Kirk?
Hang on. Let me read these last 2 comments that just now came up. Tollhouse says Deion Sanders only had 53 interceptions in his NFL career. Just to show you how good Tunnell and Krause were. Boy says, okay, I got Smith and Quinn Early turned around.
Oh.
Okay. Alrighty.
But Quinn Early was a better wide receiver. So.
Yeah. Okay.
From Breakneck, New York, I covered his recruiting.
Alrighty.
And Robert Smith was from Dallas, Texas. And Robert Smith turned SMU in for recruiting what's the word? Violations. And Hayden sure got a kick out of that because SMU fired Hayden.
So was that when SMU got put on probation that nearly killed the program? Actually, did kill it for a while.
They just tried buying every good football player in the country, and they tried buying Robert Smith and Tim Brown were 2 wide receivers that came out that same year. And Tim Brown turned him in, too. He went to Notre Dame and won the Heisman,
I remember him very well.
Now, when he retired in the NFL, he was second to Jerry Rice in the NFL. But Michael Carter was another big Olympic shot putter, and Kirk Ferentz wanted him at Iowa so bad. And, of course, he took the money and went to SMU, too. Dickerson.
Wait a minute. By the time Kirk Ferentz come around, SMU should have been back in the good graces of the NCAA.
No, Kirk was around before Robert Smith was ever around at Iowa.
Okay. All righty.
Kirk come in 80 and
81.
81 was his first season, but he came that winter of 80-81.
Okay.
You know?
All righty.
And
Yeah.
Kirk was a very good recruiter for that Mike Wells. I said there's some all-time team. He never got to Iowa while Kirk was still there, but he was a USA Today first team All-American defensive lineman from Missouri, and Kirk was there long enough to be his ace recruiter. At that time, Kirk Hayden had given him the Missouri area where Liddell Betts and Mike Wells was. Liddell Betts might have been over into Kansas, but Kansas City area maybe. But Mike Wells was on washed up walk-ons, and he said one of the reasons I came to Iowa was my mom made me. He said,
I like that.
"Well,
He's not the
Kirk
only one that said
Kirk,
that over the years.
yeah, well, he said Kirk Ferentz was the most handsome guy you ever seen, and his mom was like, pissing her pants over him." Yeah. Kirk was very happily married, but he said, "Oh, my mom had a crush on Kirk Ferentz when he made an in-home visit." Him and Hayden come down. And Mike Wells was a big deal. I mean, it was Iowa and Michigan mostly for him. And, anyway,
Guys, I just want to remind you that you can click on that StreamYard link there, and you can come on and you can talk about your own memories, or you can, you don't have to show your face. I would like it if you would, but you don't have to.
hey, did you see how Kirk got out of a tough question on that Cover 3 podcast?
No, but hold that thought because we're going to run to our commercial real quick.
Okay. It only
I forgot to run it a second time the other day.
Yeah.
All righty. We'll keep you guys in suspense. Come back after the commercial. All righty. Now, like I said before, if you go to cocainecoffee.com and you decide to order some of that coffee, which we had somebody on here the other day give a testimonial and said it was very good coffee. I don't know what the 6 means, but
that's 15.
Okay. All righty. But use when you get ready to order, use the code Villains15 for 15% off of your order. 15% is pretty decent, I think.
Yeah, use Vandersee's old uniform number.
15. There you
go. Now he's number 2. I hate it.
Yeah. I should point out too, we are part of the Villains Network. They got plenty of shows on there. Hawkeyes is the only other Hawkeye show on there, and they kick off their season next week. I believe whatever August 2nd falls on.
Make sure you keep watching this show.
Yeah. This show, yeah.
We're kind of like our viewers.
Yeah, we got season 5 going. Paul and Jason have agreed to come on and do some preseason talk with us. So we'll give it a couple of weeks as we get closer to the season and bring them on. So those that are Jason and Paul fans, you'll be glad to know they're coming back, at least for right now, for one show. We'll see. Paul's just trying to decide if he wants to come back for other shows. So we'll see. I bet you they love football so much. I bet they don't miss a show.
I just want to get their Big Ten standings so we can do our poll like we did. Me and you have already done ours, and we can add them on and average them out and give
Kyle hasn't given us his yet either, has he?
No. I haven't heard from Kyle since he got married. So
yeah, And the
Probably kinda
softball
busy.
season's over, so his little podcast thing should be done.
He probably went on his honeymoon. He's probably so damn thin he can't even pick himself up.
Alrighty.
Yeah, there's a pretty woman on TV right now.
Who is she?
Sophie Cunningham's doing the WNBA studio.
Oh.
With the WNBA tonight. It's the Dream versus the team with Paige Beckers.
Oh, okay.
Pretty
Paige
good game.
Beckers is having a pretty solid year. She could win MVP this year. Okay. Yep. Boy says great show, guys. Keeping everybody straight.
Well, I just, if I know something, I just say it. I don't.
Toll House says, I just want to give a little love to Micah Hyde. Certainly one of the great safety. Oh my gosh, yeah. How did I leave him off the list, Micah Hyde?
He was a cornerback safety.
Yep. And you know what?
Tyler Sash and Greenwood played right behind him at safety.
Yeah. I don't remember who did the interception and gave the ball to the other between Sash and Micah Hyde, but I still remember trick or treat Iowa City.
Tyler Sash, whenever he intercepted, and he was a great athlete. He was kind of like the Cooper DeJean before Cooper DeJean, and may he rest in peace. But every time he got an interception, he'd look around and he'd wanted to pitch it to Micah, and he did against Michigan State that time for a long one, so.
Yeah. Micah said, Toll House says Micah saved Iowa against Missouri in the bowl game with an interception. I remember, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he was so much fun to watch. And what I liked about it was him and like Greenway and stuff was their attitude. They had attitude. You did not want to run into them because of their attitude.
Micah Hyde was a guy that wasn't highly recruited. He was going to, I don't know where he was going, some school in Mac or something, some school in Ohio or something. And he was a high school quarterback, a 2-star. He come to Iowa, and last year was his first year out of the NFL. That's how long he played, like 12 years. So anyway.
Okay, let's talk about what you said before the commercial.
Okay.
How Kirk danced around a question without having to answer it.
Well, I wondered how he was going to answer it. They asked him a bunch of trivia questions, and Kirk, on every question, they asked him what the number one movie was in 1998 when he was hired.
He didn't know any of those answers.
He just says, I don't know. I don't watch movies. What was the number one sitcom or a sitcom that finished up that year, which was Seinfeld? And he goes, I don't know. I don't watch TV. I coach football. Kirk had no idea. If they'd asked him what day is the birth dates of his kids, he'd have knew all of that.
Yeah.
But
I believe that. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
One question that they said, you got to answer this. This is from Lincoln Riley, the USC coach. We're having the coach that we just got interviewed ask the next guest a question. And Kirk goes, okay. He said, Lincoln Riley wants to know, with all your experience, who was the greatest football player you ever coached?
And he didn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, he answered it. He thought about it. He thought about it, and he gave the correct answer. But it wasn't anybody for Iowa. He said the best player I ever coached, there's no question, is Jonathan Ogden, the Hall of Fame offensive lineman for the Baltimore Ravens. That guy was, 6'8", 340 pounds, and like Kirk said, he could have been a concert pianist. He was just talented and everything. He said he could have been an NBA basketball player. And that was a very correct answer. But everybody was sitting there like, God, they're going to make him pick one of the Iowa players,
That's how he got out of answering about the Iowa players.
Hayden would never answer that question. Who is your all-time offensive line at Iowa, Hayden? He goes, I can't answer that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they asked him who was president when he got hired, and I think he first said Clinton, and then he changed it. Oh, it was Bush.
And he said
Bush number one, by the way. Bush number one.
But he said Bush, but it was Clinton. Clinton was president until 2001 when young Bush took over. But,
yeah. Oh, that was young Bush. Okay, I was thinking it was old Bush.
Yeah, young Bush was in there. He came in January of 2001, and then 9/11 was in that September.
Oh yeah,
2001.
Oh, young Bush was dealt a huge blow. A lot of things going on during his career.
Yeah, and then Clinton was sandwiched in between the Bushes. So
yeah,
Clinton would have came in. Clinton's first inauguration was the day after Chris Street got killed.
Oh well, then he should have waited another couple of days to mourn.
Yeah. But anyway, that was a sad day.
It still is. Yep. I've seen that documentary several times, and every time I find myself with tears in my eyes.
Yeah, I believe that was 93, because Clinton would have. And the elections are in even years, but you get sworn in
odd years.
So
yeah, I get it, because you have to wait till January. You elect a president in November, but you have to wait till the middle of January before he officially becomes president.
So, Dean, I want to give you a chance. I don't want to talk all the time. What were some of your takeaways from either player interviews, Kirk, any of the podcasts, anything? There was so much. Another avalanche of information with 2 Tyler Bourne interviews, and oh my God, it was like.
Well, I honestly thought one of the Tyler Barnes interviews that I listened to was very informative, and you just said, well, he just covered all the same stuff, all the same stuff.
He was asking the same questions. They're always about player agents. How do you pick through players, as far as high school recruits, portal people? How do you spend your money in NIL? What's your plan? And he's answered that for 2 years. It's the same answer all the time. Yeah. Well, we do it different here.
I just the one thing too is that I kind of lost it. I should have gone back and rewind it. They were talking about somebody who was trying to get a couple of Iowa players to jump ship, but they didn't even have agents, and so did he say who they were, by the way?
No, he just said that this guy called up Tyler and told him, I'm such and such and such and such agents. They want so much money or they're gonna leave. And Tyler Barnes spoke right up to him and put him in his place. He says, them 2 kids don't even have agents. Said, you quit your lying or I'm going to turn you in, like that. And he said the guy just automatically was, like about crapped his pants and started apologizing. And he promised Tyler he'd never do that again. But,
I bet he did, though. I bet he did.
Yeah.
You don't even know. And, Tyler Barnes, as he rightfully pointed out, that the money that's being floated around out there that players are making is probably not even true. It's just the agent trying to inflate stuff so that it looks like, this Underwood gets $10 million. And, did he really? Because Underwood ain't saying anything. He's not saying he got $10 million, but his agent is.
Yeah. It's the world don't spin around on truth very much. So
no. But and then I don't know, from the listening to Kirk speak, I didn't get any information. Like you said earlier, he pretty much had in everything that was thrown at him yesterday, it was all the same questions. Number one was quarterback, Well, he said more than once that the quarterback controversy will probably go into, not controversy, but battle will probably go into the first couple of games. I think everybody's expecting both of them to play in the couple of games. He said in an ideal world, he said it would be nice if one of them could separate themselves during camp because he pointed out was C.J. Beathard and Rudock, right, in that interview,
and
that he didn't like playing two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And you remember that throughout most of the season, they both played.
Yeah, Kakert said to him, he said, I know you've said before the playing both Stanzi and Christensen that 1 year. They rotated. One would play a half a game, and or Stanzi would replace Christensen, and neither one was playing worth a crap. And Kakert said, "You said you would never do that again, Kirk." And he said,
"But he did. He actually did, though."
Well, the only time I know, but the only time Beathard played, except in the bowl game, was when Rudock was injured. And
okay. I was thinking they both took turns on series.
Yeah, today on the On3 thread, people put up the statistics for every game that year, and Rudock's statistics were way better than Beathard. But Kirk made the right decision. He said he has said that I like a gamer, some guy that is a leader. And he said, I thought Beathard was the leader, and he was right, and he did Rudock right by naming him the starter right after the season, and Rudock had a chance to go find another place to play, and he played real good at Michigan. Rudock was a good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, and he had a good quarterback coach, his head coach.
Yeah.
But okay, so where was I going with this?
Also, Brad Banks' first year at Iowa. I don't know if a lot of people don't remember this, but on the On3 thread, a guy reminded all of us of that. Banks in the big game that year, McCann was a starter, but in the big game that year when they played Wisconsin, it was a big game. Banks played about the whole game, but he screwed up. He fumbled and he threw an interception when they were right down ready to score against Wisconsin twice. And after that, Kirk said, well, we're going to have McCann the rest of the season. They didn't hardly lose any more games after that.
Well, I do remember. I remember Banks fumbled twice to Iowa State that cost us a national championship.
But he was a great player. I mean,
he was. But I wanted to bring up and what you thought, because I've talked to people who said that the only reason why C.J. Beathard got named in January, the number one starter, was because his dad was putting pressure on Kirk that C.J. was going to leave if he wasn't number one quarterback.
Yeah, C.J. was going to leave, but if Kirk thought Rudock was the better quarterback, he said, well, you got to leave. It's not unusual for quarterbacks to leave when they know they're not going to play.
Yeah. So. But the pressure of all the NFL, his family's pretty NFL oriented. Everybody knows that, and I wondered if that had anything to do with it, and may that have something to do with why he's still playing in the NFL.
I don't know. I think Beathard's just a talented athlete.
Okay, I got some questions to read
Probably had the best NFL tools of any quarterback. The Hayden Fry years right up through today, he probably had the best tools as far as an NFL quarterback because he could run. He was athletic, and yet he had a big arm. He had a big old arm.
Yeah.
Remember that Big Ten title game, that long throw he made? Holy cow, was that a cannon of long pass,
Yeah, but who would have thought that Michigan State was going to take up the rest of the time and leave us very few seconds to try to win the game?
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was crazy how much they dominated that second half with that ball.
Yeah, Kirk commented, he said, I found out in the NFL, in college, if you got a way better team, you have a lot of games where you win comfortably. He said in the NFL, even if you have the best team in the NFL, every week, every game is close. And he said that's when I learned that I better have really good special teams, because special teams in the NFL, he learned that, they can be the difference between you going 5-11 or going 11-5.
Yeah. Well, that's when I think it was his breakout year where they went to the Rose Bowl. Or was it the Orange Bowl? I think it was the Orange Bowl. Which one did they go to his breakout year? They went 7-5 and went to the Alamo Bowl or something like that.
2002, they went to the Orange Bowl and played USC because they should have went to the Rose Bowl, but
that was the year where I think he was. It took him a couple of years to get the special teams going, but I remember him talking about what happened with the special teams, and he said, "Well, I just decided that all the best players needed to play on special teams."
Yeah,
and that kind of helped him because I think he had guys playing both special teams and offense and defense too at the same time.
He said yesterday that special teams was the thing he concentrated on his first 2 years at Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
He said because he knew that the rest, his offense and defense, was going to really suck. And he said, so we concentrated on giving Nate Kading a scholarship and putting Bobby Sanders on special teams, and we concentrated on special teams. He said we knew that was the only thing we might be decent at because we had no offensive linemen, we had no talent really.
Took him a few years, okay. Especially when he came his first couple years, he cleaned house on some of the people that Hayden had brought in. He cleaned house. He didn't want them.
He had a leftover punter from Hayden, Jason Baker, and he
kept
said
him. I thought,
I said a leftover punter.
Okay,
and it's like Matt Bowen was leftover and all them guys, but LeVar Woods. But anyway, said leftover punter Jason Baker, and he said I ain't worried about special teams this year. He says I'm concerned. But he said Jason Baker, his first spring at Iowa in '99, you didn't know where the ball was going, if he's going to punt it, if he's going to punt a 20-yard punt or a 60-yard punt. And by his second year at Iowa, he was the number one punter in the Big Ten, and Jason Baker punted in the NFL for a long time.
Okay.
That's why
Tollhouse says we're going to answer some more questions here. Tohal says, is it any surprise to either of us that Brett Bielema was the most controversial coach with his statements about the SEC? I didn't watch him, so tell me, what did he say that was controversial?
I watched him. I remember his first comment was about Hayden Fry.
You didn't catch anything he said about the SEC?
I'm sure he did, probably about their schedules or how he beats them all the time in bowl games. So,
Well, he used to coach in the SEC too.
Well, yeah, at Arkansas.
Yeah.
I know he mentioned in the news conference how bad he was at Arkansas, and everything. And he said, now at Illinois he's got NIL, and he said I can compete with the SEC now. And that's the great thing about this revenue sharing and NIL, that it's not all under the table anymore.
So what he's saying is the SEC, which everybody knows.
Everybody knows that.
Okay.
But I don't know what the comment was he's talking about.
Okay. Boy says all not Ogden Kelvin. Okay, that's all he said.
No, he named Jonathan Ogden as his answer to that. John Alt was the guy I put on the all-time Hawkeye team.
Oh, Alt, not Ogden. Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay.
I couldn't put.
I'm glad
Jonathan
you can understand him. I can't understand his stuff.
I don't know what the hell he's saying. I couldn't put Jonathan Ogden on the all-time Iowa team because he never played at Iowa.
Okay,
He's an NFL player for the Baltimore Ravens. Kirk was there when they drafted him, and of course, him and Ray Lewis and the great safety Reed. That's why they won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Jonathan Ogden.
Tollhouse says says, if I was being recruited by Illinois, I'd like to see Brett's Tiger Hawk tattoo.
You're going to see it every day in practice because as heavy as Brett is, he's wearing shorts. You know, it's right.
I thought he lost weight, but he did.
He has, but he's never going to look like Halle Berry. I mean,
well, I don't think any man wants to look like Halle Berry.
He's a little round bone, but his tattoo there on his leg is in the exact same place that Matt Rogers is. That Rose Bowl team, they all got Tiger Hawk tattoos. So right there.
So he played on the same team with Matt Rogers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they said, both of them said, boy, that was a painful place to get a tattoo. But,
I bet. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there was a lot of guys on the all-time team. I thought Jared DeVries, how do you keep him? How do you keep Claiborne off the defensive line? But I knew that the two Outland Trophy winners, Karras and Jones, had to be on the team. And Duke Slater, who's one of the 2 or 3 greatest Hawkeyes of all time, had to be on the team. I didn't know whether I should put him on at guard on offense because they played both ways back then. But I put him on defense because we have so many Hall of Fame type offensive linemen at Iowa.
Okay. Did you want to talk about what some of the other coaches said or what some of the other players had to say?
I don't know.
It's all fluff. It's all fluff. We'll just skip over it.
Fitzgerald followed PJ Fleck today, and the first thing he said was, he said, I'm going to keep it short so you reporters can actually ask some questions after PJ talked.
How many minutes did he give the media?
Not much. He's a nut. PJ. But
he likes to talk. He likes to talk. I think what he's trying to do is intimidate the other coaches.
Yeah, I pay more attention to the Iowa stuff than I do listening to all them coaches. Ryan Day said that if he doesn't finish in the top 4 of the CFP playoffs every year, he should be fired. You talk about putting pressure on yourself.
Well, then he should quit. If he doesn't get there, he doesn't have to be fired. Just say, hey, I'm the wrong guy for this program. I can't keep you in the top 4. So
for a while, he couldn't even beat Michigan. And he almost got fired, but he won the national championship. So
yeah, I was talking to a guy in Oklahoma, and we were talking about how Michigan dominated Ohio State recently. And I said, well, you think that alone will get him fired? He goes, yep. He says, eventually it's going to get him fired.
Yeah, Ryan Day was gone.
They started winning now. They're winning now.
Yeah, that game that they lost to Michigan that last time when Michigan had their new coach, who's now fired, that game that they lost, they had such a better team than Michigan. And Ryan Day, I know a bunch of Buckeyes out there in Ohio, all these people I know through horses. And, Ryan Day's, as soon as these playoffs are over, he's gone, And I thought, well, I know that. But he won the national championship.
He saved his job with a national title, yeah.
I know. It's like he had such a great roster that year. It was like, and that's what he said today. He says, I have such huge financial backing and such a great roster every year. If I don't finish in the top 4 of and that puts a lot of pressure on Matt Campbell too. He's in the same situation. Great roster every year, all these billion-dollar money people.
Okay, stop. Okay, where did Ohio State finish last year?
I don't know. Indiana's the champion.
I know, but did they finish top 4?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember. It was Miami and Indiana, right? Miami beat Ohio, right? Ohio State or not?
Okay, if they did in the semis, then he finished in the top 4. But that's my point is if they didn't finish in the top 4 last year, he needs to fire himself because he's already put that out there.
The only way you fire yourself is if you resign, but he's never going to resign the greatest, one of the top 5 jobs in the country. You know,
Yeah, with all that money coming in, how does
and then
why
get his
can't
buyout.
Iowa's got to find some benefactors that will just take care of, you
Well,
know,
I'm
take care of
waiting
the
for
money because we're at such a disadvantage, you know. Media picks us to finish 8th, which most of them have a 7th, 8th, 9th in that range.
Yeah.
And you know, and then I'm listening to Dockerman yesterday. He says, yeah, he says, you know, back when it was only 12 teams, 8th place would have been bad. But he goes, but now that we got 18 teams, he says that's a pretty good spot to be in.
If you're in the top 6, you're in the top third, which is the same of being third place in the Big Ten when Hayden coached back in the 80s. You know,
Right.
you got to look at it that way, and then you got to look at it like Kirk commented. He said, "When I come to Iowa in '81, we had 19 straight losing seasons or 20," and he said we broke the. He said Ohio State and Michigan had went to the Rose Bowl for like 13 straight years or something. And
Broke
he said,
the big 2, little 8, whatever they
yeah,
call that.
he said we broke that. And then over the next 20 years, a bunch of Big Ten teams went to the Rose Bowl. You know, Purdue.
Illinois' been, Northwestern's been. I can't think of who else.
Well, a
Michigan
lot of teams,
State,
Michigan
Wisconsin.
State, Wisconsin, you
Yeah,
know, but a
Wisconsin.
lot of teams went. And he
Yeah.
goes, we broke that and football changed. He said, my thing I'm saying to you folks about this, all this money and NIL is we're going to go back to where there's really only 10 teams that are really possible to win the national championship. You gotta have a $60 million roster, which I was never gonna have. He says, I'm worried about how the hell Kirk navigates that and keeps winning, averaging 9 wins a season the last 10 years is like a miracle, you know. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. You know, we live on walk-ons and getting the cheapest players we can find, you know.
He talked about that too yesterday with somebody about how they go out and just try to how lucky they get. They go out and just try to find the players that they can get at the cheapest they can, you know, kind of like on sale type thing.
Him and Barnes both talked about it the last 2 days that they find players like Sam Laporta, who was going to go to Bowling Green, and Micah Hyde and Riley Moss, who they got to walk on, you know, and Dallas Clark and all these, named a bunch of them, you know, that Josie Jewell, Jack Campbell, you know, Cooper DeJean, you know, got a bunch of guys that they thought, I think they're good enough. But what they're better than these 4 stars is they got character and they work hard, you know? And that's what Kirk, he says, that's what I got to look for. Cause I can't just say, oh, I'm going to get a 5-star from Georgia and California and stuff. That's not how it works. So,
yeah. And then Kirk also talked about the 5-and-5 rule and about how many court cases are out there for the ones that already graduated. And I think he mentioned, well, it's got to be fair. He says if all those guys get court rulings to come back, then everybody needs to have that happen, not just, you know, the schools that decided to file lawsuits.
the problem is that I think most of these guys have already signed a free agent contract and are in NFL training camp, so they can't come back anyway.
Yeah, that is true on that part. But
Yeah,
we still have Banks, our basketball player.
Yeah.
You know, whether or not, I mean, it sounds like they asked McCollum the other day, and it sounded like he said that's off the table now or something like that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I listened to it anyway. That's the way I heard it.
I just can't wait to the Iowa State game when Caden Daughtry comes and tells Ben I'm committed.
Yeah. Oh, the atmosphere is going to be so cool, and it's going to be a night game.
Yeah.
Or semi-night game anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be so cool because You know, I love night games at Kennick because we usually win them, and our crowd is so drunk, so wasted that they are so fired up and loud the whole game. We could be losing 50-0, and they would still be screaming.
I know I mentioned this to you before we went on. I don't think I mentioned to you after we went on, but on that one podcast, maybe it was on a couple different interviews with Revson and then also with that Cover 3. One of the commentators turned to Kirk and said, Kirk said he wanted to go to 24. And Kirk said, you can be very competitive and be a top 25 team against very good teams. And the guy turned to him and he goes, yeah, I don't think Indiana wanted to play you a second time last year. The national championship team. Kirk goes, yeah, that goes to show you us as a 4-loss team could have been competitive in the college football playoff right till the end. Because we almost beat the national championship, and nobody else did.
Yeah, I mean,
Miami
that was
gave
the
them a good
closest.
game.
That was the closest game that Indiana had all year.
Except
And
Penn
it took a
State.
lucky. I think it took a lucky pass or a missed. Somebody misread the pass or something, and
Well,
Indiana hit a pass that got away from us.
The Indiana game, we had plenty. The first pass of the game is off Gill's hands or shoulder pad, and Indiana intercepts it. Indiana wouldn't have scored at all in the first half, and then our great field goal kicker freaking misses a field goal at the end of the game, and of course we missed that screen pass, and our quarterback got hurt.
If you think Gronowski had not got hurt that game, do you think we had a chance to win it?
We would have won. We would have won it.
Yeah.
We probably would have ran that. We'd have probably ran that screen pass and faked it out there, and Gronowski probably ran right up the middle for 10 yards and a first down.
We almost beat Oregon too. And then we in the first half we had USC on the ropes.
Yeah, I think
we scored the second half.
I was just going to say that Indiana's maybe closest thing to losing was their fourth down pass that they came back at right at the end of the game to beat Penn State. Their wide receiver made a tiptoe, unbelievable catch at the back of the end zone on fourth down.
And despite Penn State losing 6 games last year, they didn't lose games by that much. I mean, Iowa had to have a miracle play to beat them. Obviously, Indiana did too.
Penn State had a lot of talent. You don't have any comments?
Nope, no more comments right now. We have 40 people currently watching, though.
Good.
We could have 40 comments if all 40 wanted to comment.
Like Kirk said, everybody's talking about, is Lutmer going to play cash or safety? And Kirk just said, we've moved Zach to safety. I knew they would because he's the only safety back there that has ever played at Iowa before. He's the only one that knows the defense. The safety back there, one of them deep safeties, and it's usually the Quinn Schulte position, has to call the coverage by looking at what the other team's doing. They do it vocally and with hand signals. And
now when they interviewed,
and Lutmer said, I have practiced at safety way more than I have at cash in my career at Iowa. He said, I was a safety until they stuck me in a cash last year during the season.
Well, somebody asked him what position he was going to play, and he said, I don't know. Phil hasn't told me yet.
No, most of the defensive backs, it's like Godfrey. Godfrey, who's a good young player, he's a guy that I call him Tombstone because that Nebraska quarterback, I think, thought he died twice. When he cut him in half, I call him Tombstone. He's like running into a tombstone. If you're running across the cemetery in the dark, oh God, I run into a tombstone and cave my head in. But Godfrey practices all 5 positions, both safeties, cash, and cornerback. And Kirk said, we ain't worried about our our cornerbacks and cash people, we got a lot of them, so that sounds real good, and what else did of course, he made the comment, about center, who's your offensive line, and is Pieper playing center? And he says, well, I kind of think so, but he says, if we get into fall practice here, and he says, if we have a better offensive line, depending if Cale Winter is better at guard or center, it's possible we'll move Pieper back to guard because he's a great guard, whatever's best for the team. But it's best for Pieper to stay at center for his NFL career. Anyway,
we got a comment.
Of course, he made the great Diaz comment, Elliot Clough, whatever his name is. He goes, well, I hate to mention the thing about the hype train because I know you hate the hype train, but tell us about the boogeyman. And Kirk goes, yeah, I hate the hype train. He says, I'll just say that Bobby Sanders liked to hit people. He said, Marshall Yonda liked to block people. And he says, Diaz likes to catch passes. Like that. It was like, I couldn't believe Kirk said that. Go ahead, Dean, with a comment.
Yeah, let's go with the comments. And yeah, I was going to bring that up. I had that in my notes.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on for a second. We're so far behind on comments now.
Oh, shit. Read them all.
I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wish I could help.
I think my thing has gone on the fritz. Alrighty. Okay. The first comment is from Terry. What do you think he's talking about?
I don't know who Terry is. Go ahead.
Who's the one that always talk about looking at the camera?
Oh, whatever.
He said Kelvin's not looking at the camera while I'm doing my.
Yeah, I'm watching the WNBA game, and I'm looking at my Iowa roster here, so I can name. Yeah. So I can remember Bosworth's real name, Cam Buffington.
Alrighty. Boy says, well, I watched the podcast the other day, too, where Ferentz could ask Matt Campbell anything, and he would have asked him what his favorite offense play is. I think he didn't even have a question for Matt Campbell.
He says, I can't think of anything. And the guy said, well, we'll just ask him to take it easy on you, Kirk. And he goes, yeah, tell him to take it easy on me. So.
Now, he did say something about that he was glad that Campbell was in the league. And I'm assuming that's probably because they don't have to face each other every year. Because it sounds like he's got great respect for Matt Campbell from what he said.
I think he just likes Matt Campbell and wanted to compliment him. And he said when you're at Iowa State and we're in Iowa City, it's like you live in the same little town and you hear everything about each other. And he said, I never heard anything bad about Matt Campbell. So
yeah. All right. Toehouse says, I just like the comments about Tom Moore. Sounds like the players are really enjoying Coach Moore. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like they can't get enough of him.
I ordered the book they were talking about. Tom Moore put out a book.
And, what's the book called?
I don't know. You just go to Barnes and Noble or Amazon and put in Tom Moore book. And
all right. Okay. Boy has another comment. He goes, well, okay. We already got that one. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to catch up here, guys. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Ferentz's comments about Tom Moore. Yeah. It sounds like, they that he's really been a big asset, and they love his stories. He's always, and he's just he's seen so much and he's done so much that he can instantly pick out an area of improvement. And I guess some of the players actually go to him and ask him, what can they do different?
Some of the coaches go to him. It's like Tom Moore, like Kirk said, Tom Moore says everything, which is what I've said my whole life is simple.
Yeah.
He said everything is simple. Get rid of the ball by the count of 3 if you're the quarterback. Have good footwork,
Mm-hmm.
So
Terry says he misses drinking Sprite with you. Hopefully, you guys can get together and drink some Sprite again.
we are. I got Sprite tonight. But I know we haven't drank Sprite together in person, but
yeah. Terry had, I don't know, he could tell more about this on his podcast. I think it's called Terrible Terry Sports or something. Terry, if I screw this up, correct me. But he had a former Kentucky football coach on his show today, I believe.
Frank Mummy, Hal Mummy.
Yeah, there you go.
He was Jay Norvell's offensive coordinator. I don't know if Terry knew that.
Well, I'm sure Terry knew that. I'm sure he did research on that.
Mummy was the Kentucky coach, and he was Mike Leach got his start at Mount Pleasant, Iowa, under Hal Mummy at Iowa Wesleyan.
Yeah, his podcast, guys, in case you're curious, it's called Terrible Talk Sports, and I know he comes on about an hour before we do.
Is Terry? Yeah, Terry's the guy that sends his podcast to my messenger. That's Mr. UCLA, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, why didn't you say that? So
well, I thought you knew. Yeah. I thought you were.
No, you just said
he's
Terry.
Been on the show. He's been on the show too.
Yeah, he was on twice. Yeah, he always gives me hell when he's on. Okay. And I give him hell because he doesn't know anything about Iowa. So.
You know what would be fun? The week we're not going to play UCLA this year. Darn it! I was going to say what would be fun is having him on here when we play UCLA. But
I just remember when he was on. I'm teasing the hell out of him tonight, like I always do. I just remember when we had him on about UCLA, and I'd ask him, "Well, who's your best players on UCLA?" And he goes, "I don't know nothing about them." I thought you were our UCLA expert, So
yeah. Jerry says he feels forgotten. Way to go!
Well, you are forgotten, damn it.
Yeah, you know what?
I think you got hit by the tombstone guy, Godfrey. So
yeah. I'm gonna have to change the title of this thing. I'm gonna can the women's recruiting for tonight. I had it all set up for us to go, all the pictures and stuff you sent.
We can just say that on 3 thread. If you go to that, I couldn't send you that, and use it. Mm-hmm. He had guys on there had a breakdown of all them 20, 30 point guards and 29 players in there, where they're rated and everything.
Since we can't use it, can you print it off? Print it off, and we can talk about it next time.
I don't have no printer, but anyway, it was just a little short stuff, and we don't have to remember all that. About 20, 30. They were in the 8th grade last year.
Yes.
We will learn more about them if they actually visit Iowa. Jan's just like she always does. She's throwing shit on the wall.
I would say it's more of her assistant coach throwing shit on the wall.
But
okay, wait a minute. We have a special guest.
Lisa never offered everybody, but Jan offers everybody. Lisa only offered people if they were interested in Iowa. She'd talk to them and everything. Yeah. Hey,
I think Terry wants to give us some shit because UCLA did beat us.
So let's get one thing straight. I didn't say I didn't know any UCLA players. I said they all sucked and they weren't worth knowing. That was the whole team at the time.
Well, I remember asking you about their offensive line and stuff. You obviously knew Lakamaleva or whatever. He wasn't even there then.
So I knew the quarterback. I knew I knew Patrick Yoon, who's like the senior O lineman for that year. It just the problem is they kept rotating linemen in and out because they kept getting hurt.
I know they had the best. They had the best linebacker we played all year. He's in the NFL now. But.
And it wasn't like what do you call it? It didn't matter if they're rotating in and out. It's not like they're rotating better players in. It just got progressively worse. So I'm hoping with this change in scenery that we got from James Madison that I'm not expecting obviously instant results like Indiana got when Kirk Cignetti coached over Bob Chesney. For starters, I like to be happy with a bowl eligible game, hopefully somewhere here in Texas so I can make the drive and go see it.
Oh, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Terry, looking at UCLA's schedule, where do you see their record?
At the most, I could see him going 7 wins.
Okay.
It's between 6 and 7 wins. And then the bottom, I could see him missing the bowl game by like 1 game, going 5 and 7 as a start. But
I got them going 6 and 6.
Yeah, that's about roughly where I would put him to. But I see one of those games they could maybe pull off an upset.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love their new coach, Dean. Dean will tell you I talk about him every damn podcast, but when Kirk leaves, if we go to outside coaches and don't hire from within, I said Chesney at UCLA, and then Cignetti's 2 coordinators would be 3 outside people that I'd be very interested in.
If you like. Okay, I have so many spare UCLA hats. I could send you one since you're talking about our coach so much.
No, I know why you wear a hat, but it looks like you're sunburned.
Well, yeah, I'm in West Texas. It was 104 today.
Me and Michael Jordan never wear hats because why cover up the perfect head? So.
You're always indoors.
I'll take one of those spare UCLA hats.
Yeah. Actually, when I was a little kid, my 2 favorite basketball teams in college were my Iowa Hawkeyes, and then they got really bad under Dick Schultz, and my favorite team was UCLA with Bill Walton and Lou Alcindor and David Myers and Marcus Johnson and all them guys, David Greenwood.
Hey, can I make a prediction, Terry? I think your team starts 4-0.
Who they playing?
Who's the first 4?
They're at California, San Diego State, Purdue, at Maryland. The first 4 games.
Those are 4. They could be 4 decent teams.
Well, they haven't been lately.
California has a great quarterback returning.
Okay.
It was Cal Berkeley you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And they got the former defensive coordinator from Oregon now as their head coach.
Yeah. All right, and then you guys go to Oregon. That's probably a loss. Then you come home for 3 games in a row: Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Nevada. You should be able to win all those. I see 7-1 right now. Okay, and then you have to travel to Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, and USC. So you finish up tough, but you should be able to start the season 7-1.
I'm going to go ahead and say here right now. I'm saying we're going to beat USC this year.
Okay.
Because fuck them.
That's the way UCLA fans would think,
Okay. If you guys have an all Iowa villain team, would definitely dominate. I would definitely dominate Eric Ball of UCLA along with McCaffrey, of course.
McCafferty?
McCafferty, yeah.
Oh my,
the guy who pretty much burned us in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, he was for Stanford, and Eric Ball at UCLA. And
Eric Ball burned us too. So what Joe House is saying is the guys that burned us.
Well, Jock Robinson in our first Rose Bowl with Hayden
Well, I want to give you a little quick update there, Dean. We're still in the processing stage. I contacted Iowa University about Coach French, so it's still
Ferentz. Ferentz, you got to say it right so we can have him.
Well, I spelled it right in the email, okay?
All right,
Practice starts in a couple
I'm doing
days,
this for you guys.
I'm just afraid. I'm just afraid if we didn't have him by as early as 2 days ago, or late as 2 days ago, that we're not going to get him at all during the season.
July is their month that they have off. And
Yeah.
until late July when practice starts, then Kirk won't be doing it. And
Well,
Kirk
it
would
seemed like
limit,
he was always busy recruiting too.
Kirk would
Did anybody hear why
limit you to
what
30
caused?
minutes. So.
Yeah. Did anybody hear what caused Tim Lester's house to burn down?
Probably
Fire.
Kelvin.
Fire.
This guy.
I
he
mean,
was up in Michigan at their cabin. I suppose it was some type of electrical fire. I don't know.
Okay.
It was very specific.
I'm
Kelvin.
glad they
Where were
weren't
you
home.
when it happened?
What's that?
I said that was very specific of you, Kelvin. Where were you when that happened?
I usually, well, I was the only guy that liked Tim Lester when he was hired, except for Kirk and Donnie Patterson. But
guys, we should do this. We should do this. We should have an all Iowa villain team. Pick our villains from each game that we.
Last year, Paul wanted us to do a villain from every Big Ten team, and I picked them, but then nobody else did, and we never did it.
And Paul never came on the show again.
Yeah, I had Cody McMahon from Ohio State as a villain, and J.C. Sheldon from Ohio State.
And neither one of them are there anymore, are they? I think one transferred out and the other one graduated.
Well, Cody McMahon transferred out, and J.C. Sheldon, she was same year that Caitlin, went to the NBA. But what the hell was I going to? I don't know what I was going to say. But, well, how'd your mummy interview go?
That was good. That was a great story he had to tell you.
Did he tell you about being in Mount Pleasant, Iowa?
Yeah, he started out with that.
Yeah,
that was like his first. Well, he started out like when he mentioned college and he mentioned about how him and Mike Leach, how they collaborated together to invent the air raid offense, which a lot of people don't know that. So if you're watching, yes, how.
What I'd like to know is that's where Epinessa's dad played, and I always wondered if they were there at the same time. But
yeah, he mentioned high school.
What are you laughing about?
Nothing. I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
But he mentioned high school, then he was offered the job at Wesleyan, and he said that, he didn't know where it was. He said he was honest, like, I don't know where that place is at, but he's like, okay, let's go give it a try.
Yeah, the college is closed now.
Yeah,
it is.
But he said
last year they closed.
That they first, when he got there, he said they hadn't won a game in 2 years by the time he got there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turned it around, and then from there went to. It's like different. He had quite the journey.
Yeah.
So what happened that he eventually left Kentucky? Did he retire or what?
No, he said there was some like allegation stuff. Like he's like stuff that was, breaking the NCAA rules back then that are no longer a rule now.
Oh, okay.
So
you did ask him about that.
I didn't. I did not ask him. He had that.
He had that 290-pound quarterback at Kentucky.
Yeah, I didn't tell him. So what I did, I gave him the floor. He's walking us through his journey and everything. Mentioning about Kentucky and how, he said he was fired due to some rules violation. I mean, he admitted it. He owned up to it. He didn't say what it was, but he owned up to it. I didn't ask him. I wasn't going to ask him personally because that's not what I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But for him to come out and flat out say it, I'm like, mad respect for him because, how many coaches are going to do that anyway?
Well, he'd have got a ton of criticism down in Kentucky if that podcast, people in Kentucky saw it and he didn't mention it, then they'd have jumped all over him on the internet.
What's he doing today? He's
basically, he actually moved from Shreveport, Louisiana to Brandon, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. I think now I could probably say he's calling it a career.
Okay.
Like he just finished, I think it was an OC job at Centenary College. It's a community college in Shreveport.
Yeah, that's where Robert Parrish and Kathy Rigby.
Yes.
school.
Yes, that's where they did start.
Sorry, all this shit sticks in my brain all the time.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Did he mention Jay Norvell? Wasn't he Jay Norvell's offensive coordinator, like at Nevada or Colorado State at the end?
I remember mentioning, I think his son was.
Oh, maybe Hal Mummies Jr. or something.
Yeah. Well, his son's called, dang it, slipped my mind now. Matthew.
I bet that's the guy that was with Jay Norvell, who just came back to Iowa for Kirk.
Yeah.
So,
You guys are having a good conversation there. I'm just letting you guys have it.
well, Iowa fans ain't too interested in it, but I had questions and everything. And
that's no problem. We don't have to stick to Iowa 100% every time because there are other colleges out there and other people.
Real quickly, to make some people happy, can we mention how great Caitlin played last night?
Caitlin has been playing great for a while now.
4 games, she's averaging like 29 points a game. And she's
my favorite player right now in the WNBA.
Who's
your favorite player? Caitlin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love
Sophie.
I love Sophie's on right now. Doing commentary. Yeah, Dean last week said Sophie didn't look too good anymore. What the hell is he talking about? Anyway,
there's your comment. There's your answer, Dean.
What's that?
Was it Toll House?
What?
Yeah.
What was his
name? Wait a minute.
Here
hang on. Okay.
To confirm what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Matt Mums was
Jay's offensive
coordinator at Nevada. I happened to live in Reno back then, and everyone loved the air raid offense. Okay, cool.
Okay.
You have gotten around.
Yeah. But anyway, maybe Caitlin's a little healthier now. 4 straight games. You know, I know it wasn't against the premier teams at full strength, right? That makes a difference. But you can tell she isn't on a minute limit, and I think when she plays for a lot of minutes, she stays in the flow of the game instead of playing 3 minutes and go sit on the bench for 5. It's like,
yeah.
How do you play basketball that way, Terry? You know.
Well, I was never good at it.
Yeah. Who was that? Who was that star player that was on there? Flazé
Johnson.
Yeah, from the other team.
Yeah, her little brother loves Caitlin.
Yeah, but she was having a good game yesterday too. But also that blue hair girl was having a heck of a game too.
Yeah,
every time I turned around, she thought she was Caitlin Clark.
The one blue-haired girl, Williams. I think she was out last night. But anyway, them two. I wish I knew their names, but. Anyway, them are the 2 girls that Caitlin's buddies with that Caitlin gave her her new shoes at the All-Star game.
Oh, seriously? I did not know that.
Yeah.
And the one that was out of the game or the one that was playing?
Both of them, they're a couple.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah. And she gave them these purplish shoes, and they just love Caitlin.
Is that why they were wearing them in the game last night? The purple shoes?
And then she usually don't even start, and she come in and she got 32 points, wasn't it? Career high.
She had a great game.
As soon as the game went over, Caitlin quickly said hi to her own players, and then she ran to her. Like, it's the shoes. Tell everybody it's the shoes.
Did you notice that on that one out of bounds play where that bounced off that girl's shoe, and they thought it bounced off of Caitlin's shoe.
Yeah.
And Caitlin's going, she's doing that symbol for, review it. And they said they weren't going to, and she said, "No, I'm sure about this one. I know it."
So,
and she won it. She won it.
We got to make our women's basketball fans happy. Like one person on our podcast comments underneath it. I shared it all over, and one person over there and said, one person under there in the comments said, "Quit talking about football. Just talk about women's basketball." So we got women's basketball fans out there. We gotta keep happy.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if I can
Caitlin
get
sure had a
Molly,
great game. So
if I can get Molly to agree to it, we're just going to have a strictly a woman show again, like we did 2 seasons ago when it was me and Molly, and we only did women's.
I would do that like in October right before the season started. I mean, this is football season.
I know it, but I got to we're talking football tonight, but I had intended to talk women's recruiting because that's really the only thing going on because the women are done working out and done practicing for the summer, and they'll reconvene in the fall when school starts.
Yeah.
But I do have a little quick announcement, though. I'm trying to get Stacy Johnson again.
Okay.
I'm going to have her come on mine.
On your show?
Yeah. And then I would like to have you guys on there if you'd like.
I would love to do it because I didn't like the way the last show went, and I would love to get some of the stuff out that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Calvin, you could bring your sugar-free Sprite. That better be sugar-free, by the way. Let me see the label.
Yeah, it's 0 sugar.
Okay, because you don't need that, sir. You're already hyper.
I'm very diabetic, and that's why I can't stand drinking water all the time. Especially Rock Island water. You gotta buy bottled water,
You get that bougie stuff, don't you?
What?
You get that bougie water, don't you? That rich people water. You buy it out of a glass bottle, don't you?
Like Perrier.
This is what I drink all day is Diet Pop. In the morning, I drink my Diet Mountain Dew to give me some caffeine. And after I get to noon, then I usually don't drink Diet Sprite. I usually drink caffeine-free Diet Pepsi, something rotated. But anyway, the viewers don't want to know this anyway,
Well, I want to know something, though.
I know you do.
Do you partake in the occasional cocktail here and there?
I can't. I'm not healthy at all. Dean will tell you that. And I can't even, I'm not even supposed to drink one beer. I'm on this methotrexate for my cancer, keep cancer away and all that shit. And if that eats your liver up, and if I drank any alcohol, I might as well, schedule my weight.
Well, dang, because I had a cocktail that
make me. Let's talk about something that would make me happy.
Well, it had Mountain Dew in it. That's why I was going to mention it.
Yeah. I've drank
a cocktail with Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Mountain Dew with Captain Morgan. It's called Doing the Captain.
Oh, I love Captain Morgan. Oh, darn it.
It's named after Jack Campbell's wife.
Which one?
His wife. That's who does the captain, Captain Jack Campbell. They just had a little baby named Cooper the other day. So
yeah.
Named after Cooper DeJean, I presume.
Yeah. But anyway, Caitlin sure had a great game last night. She had 30 points at the end of the third quarter, and they came out, and Caitlin, like she's seen that Kelsey could not hit a shot. And then in the fourth quarter, Kelsey made her first three-pointer, and Caitlin thought, okay, let's keep feeding it to her. And Kelsey scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. So
what'd she have for the game, like 26, something like that?
She had 28, and Caitlin had 32, I think.
Yeah, and then Boston's hurt again.
Yeah, but they said that she could have came back in the game. I guess it's her kneecap. She fell right on that kneecap. That's been a problem all season. But
yeah, that meniscus. If you got it tore, it's painful.
Do you have an X account?
What?
Or does your page have an X account?
I have an X account. I have 2 of them. I want to turn one of them into my page account.
Yeah, I'm too busy. I'm too busy if I had a Twitter X account, I would never get nothing done. So anyway,
I believe you.
I
I got to go through and find out where the most Hawkeyes are on mine and change it.
It would be impossible for me to know and follow all this Hawkeye stuff every day if I was on X, but
because I was going to give you a follow if I haven't already, there, Dean.
Yeah, I got 2 accounts. If you just use my name, you'll find them both.
No comments, Dean?
No comments.
No new
Okay.
ones.
We want to keep our customers happy.
We've passed the 2-hour mark, and I will go before I send this out and before you send it. I'll get rid of the women's recruiting thing because we're not going to do that tonight.
Yeah, and most of that new recruiting news was all about 2030 and 2029 people that they just threw offers to.
Yeah, we'll do it eventually.
Yeah, like in 2 years when they're in 2 years, or this year if some 2029 or 30 girl that's like a good player actually visits an Iowa women's basketball game or an Iowa football game, we will talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way. Oh, hi, Seahawk, Cyhawk, C Money. Good to see you, buddy. Go Hawks.
Oh, no comment from him?
No. Okay. He joined the show late, it looks like.
Oh, the Cyhawk series signed a new contract today to take it through 2031. Probably Kirk's last year at Iowa.
Okay. Cyhawk says he was putting brakes on his son's car. That's why he's late. Okay, now they're coming. Eric is back. Hi, Eric. My son and I were playing some mini golf. Didn't realize you guys were live. Yeah, but you can play it back. You can definitely play it back. There's no problem with that.
And happy birthday today to our friend Rick Dullard.
Yeah.
So
Skyhawk says Tony Diaz. Boy, I hope this guy's not a bust. All the hype that he's getting.
Yeah. It's like Tyler Barnes seen the same thing on film that I did when he and I said on our podcast when we were talking about guys that were signing out of the portal and we signed him, and I said I looked at his game film and it was like he catches the ball, but I didn't see any great speed or anything. And Tyler Barnes commented on that today on his interview with A&F. He said we were so thrilled. He said we needed a wide receiver to catch the ball, we thought, and he caught everything. And he said, but to tell you the truth, by watching his tapes, we didn't see any great athlete. And he said, lo and behold, he shows up in Iowa City and he just runs past everybody. He's quick, and got the jiggity part, and he's fast. So they were like thrilled after he got here.
Okay, so maybe he's okay. Lester says that it's okay to catch the ball and run. Will Tony Diaz be a catcher and a runner?
I don't know. I've never seen him play.
Okay. Cyhawk says when Bob Sanders is mentioned in the same sentence. Yeah. We talked about that too. We did how Kirk kind of put him there, and Kirk must be excited for what he sees in this guy. I gotta tell you, and he's got to be excited.
Strenga said today that he has put weight on. He said he was way too skinny when he came up here, but he said he looks pretty good now as far as his body and everything. So,
alrighty, well, guys, I think this has been a great, fantastic show. Mm-hmm. Share it out with everybody, and let's have some fun. So let's go home and go to night.
We'll talk.
Wait a minute. It says Eric says that Iowa's overdue for an Ohio State win. Do you guys realize that this will be the first year since 2017 when Ohio State's coming to Kinnick? The last time we beat Ohio State?
Yep,
we hardly ever play Ohio State. I don't know what it is, why that scheduling quirk comes up, but that's a shame that they haven't been to Kinnick since 2017.
And we've played them more on the road than we have at home. Kirk kicked their ass Was that 2003? I mean, they were defending national champions, and Kirk, they just kicked their rear end. And then we kicked their rear end again. I don't know if it's 2013. Fickle might have been the coach. I don't know. We kicked their rear end again. And then we kicked their rear end in 17, at home. So we should be showing, helping to get Ryan Day fired.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Cyhawk says, I have 10 guys coming for the Ohio State game. Go Hawks. Hawks by a million. Yeah, Hawks by a million. Are those T-shirts still out there that the WOW people put out?
I'm sure they are.
Okay. Bob Hoffman says Hayden turned the program around. Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
I don't think anybody will ever deny that.
No. Keep them comments going. We'll keep
I gave you a follow, Dean, by the way.
What's that?
I gave you a follow on X.
Okay. Which, both of them or just one of them?
I don't know the other one.
I think one of them's California Hawkeye, now that I think about it.
Let me try to search it up.
And then
somehow I ended up with 2 accounts because I couldn't get into my original account, so I created another account. And then all of a sudden, I could get into both of them.
Yeah, and then other news tonight was that Jan Jensen hired Eastern Illinois as a game at Carver Hawkeye Arena. So their non-conference schedule's now complete, I think. And they scheduled it before they play Vanderbilt and UConn, so they have a couple warm-up games before they play the teams that are monstrous on our schedule.
Yeah. Okay, guys, let's get out of here. Let's
We'll
call
talk
it a
after the
night.
show.
What's that?
We'll talk after the show real quick.
Sure. All righty. All right, guys. We're going to get out. Welcome to season 5, episode 1.